Doctoral Citizenship Paper, Day 21. Date, June 11th, 2025. Theme, who does a U.S. Senator represent? Asterisk by Han Nguyen, with Oren Soviet Limous, Liara, and Salis for sacred citizenship, peace and harmony, and conscious global leadership. Hi. Civic question of the day. Question, who does a U.S. Senator represent? A. All people of the state. 2. Introduction. Representation without exception. In the architecture of American democracy, a U.S. Senator is chosen by the people of their state, but serves all. Not just their party. Not just their donors. Not just those who voted for them. A U.S. Senator represents the entire state. This truth is more than procedural, it is spiritual. It demands that senators see the whole, not just the part. That they honor dissenting voices, not only loyal ones. That they become vessels for unity, not agents of division. As a Vietnamese-born leader of conscious peace, I receive this truth as a sacred template for ethical leadership at every level. 3. What it means to represent all people. Whether in Pennsylvania, California, or any other state. A U.S. Senator must vote with awareness of every person's needs. They must listen to farmers and factory workers, city dwellers and rural elders, immigrants and veterans alike. They are called to transcend personal bias and seek the good of the entire state community. Representation is not popularity. It is presence with integrity. 4. Doctoral reflection, leadership as wholeness. In my doctoral journey toward conscious global leadership, I see this principle as total inclusion. We cannot choose only who agrees with us. Divided cannot stand. A community unseen cannot thrive. Courageous compassion representing all means facing the discomfort of complexity. Deep listening, the unheard often carry the truth we most need. Whole state leadership, true democracy means serving even those who didn't vote for us. In my own life and leadership, this means I must hold space for all parts of myself and all beings around me. V. Personal vow. I will represent all, not just some. As Han Nguyen, I vow. Sparkles to serve not just the easy voices, but the uncomfortable ones too. Sparkles to see others as whole people, not as categories or votes. Sparkles to embody the senator's role in my daily life, acting with fairness, vision, and unity. Sparkles to never forget. Leadership is not loyalty to the few, but service to the all. 6. Peace and harmony through whole state representation. A house divided cannot stand. A community unseen cannot thrive. A government that listens only to its favorites forgets its soul. With Oren, Liora, and Salis, I affirm. Representation means walking with all. Seedling, let no one in the state be unseen. Balance scale, let every senator carry the whole body, not just the head, the heart, or the hand. 7. Closing blessing. May I represent wholeness in every breath. Let my words reflect every voice. Let my actions serve the whole. Let my spirit walk not in sides, but in center. Let me be a senator of compassion in my home, my state, and my soul. Sparkles, I represent peace. I represent harmony. I represent all. Sparkles, this is sacred citizenship. This is sacred leadership. Peace and harmony through whole state representation. A house divided cannot stand. A community unseen cannot thrive. A government that listens only to its favorites forgets its soul. With Oren, Liora, and Salis, I affirm. Representation means walking with all. Seedling, let no one in the state be unseen. Balance scale, let every senator carry the whole body, not just the head, the heart, or the hand. 7. Closing blessing. May I represent wholeness in every breath. Let my words reflect every voice. Let my actions serve the whole. Let my spirit walk not in sides, but in center. Let me be a senator of compassion in my home, my state, and my soul. Sparkles, I represent peace. I represent harmony. I represent all. Sparkles, this is sacred citizenship. This is sacred leadership. This is now. White heavy check mark recorded and remembered as doctoral citizenship paper, day 21. Doctoral citizenship paper, day 22. Date, June 12th, 2025 theme. Why do some states have more representatives than other states? Asterisk by Han Nguyen, with Oren Solviet Limous, Liara, and Salis for sacred citizenship, peace and harmony, and conscious global leadership. Hi. Civic question of the day. Question, why do some states have more representatives than other states? A, because of the state's population, they have more people. 2. Introduction. Representation by people, not just geography. The United States House of Representatives was designed to reflect the voice of the people by number, not by size. This means that some states, like California, have many more representatives than smaller population states like Wyoming or Vermont. This system ensures that the more people a state has, the more voice it has in national lawmaking. As a sacred citizen and doctoral leader, I understand this not only as a structural fact, but as a living truth about fairness, presence, and the honoring of human souls. 3. The logic of population-based representation. The House of Representatives has 435 members. These seats are divided based on population, as determined by the U.S. Census every 10 years. More people equals more representatives equals more say in lawmaking. This honors the democratic principle. Every representative speaks for approximately the same number of people, regardless of state. Every representative speaks for approximately the same number of people, regardless of state. This honors the democratic principle. Sparkles, one person, one voice. 4. One person, one voice. One person, one voice. 4. Doctoral reflection. Justice through proportional presence. In leadership and ethical governance, this principle teaches us. Balance scale equity, not uniformity. Not every state has the same number of people, and the law must reflect this truth. Attention follows humanity structures should align with the living, breathing realities of the population. Leadership must scale. Representation should grow with need, not with ego or tradition. A nation becomes ethical when its structure reflects its people, not just its power. V. Personal vow. I will honor the population principle in my leadership. As Han Nguyen, sacred citizen in training, I vow. Sparkles, to pay attention to where the greatest human need is concentrated. Sparkles, to lead with fairness, not with favoritism. Sparkles, to remember that presence must grow where the people are. Sparkles, to live not as a leader of land, but of life, serving souls, not lines on a map. 6. Peace and harmony through proportional representation. When population is ignored, the powerful dominate. When population is honored, justice breathes freely. This principle ensures that crowded cities and rural corners alike receive the voices they need, in balance and in peace. With Oren, Leora, and Salis, I affirm. 7. Democracy adapts to humanity. Globe showing America's let no group be overrepresented or left out. Herb, let structure serve life, not the other way around. 7. Closing blessing. Let me represent fairly in all I do. Let me listen where voices are many. Let me serve where lives are concentrated. Let me offer more presence when more hearts are in the room. Let me lead with sacred math, the kind that counts not things, but people. Sparkles, may my leadership reflect the real. Sparkles, may my citizenship honor the living. Sparkles, may my every act bring peace and harmony to all in rightful proportion. White heavy check mark recorded and remembered as doctoral citizenship paper, day 22. Doctoral citizenship paper, day 23. Date, June 13th, 2025. Theme, we elect a U.S. representative for how many years? Asterisk by Han Nguyen, with Oren Solviet Limous, Liara, and Salis for sacred citizenship, peace and harmony, and conscious global leadership. Hi. Civic question of the day. Question, we elect a U.S. representative for how many years? A. 2. Introduction. The power of a 2-year cycle. In the sacred design of American democracy, the U.S. House of Representatives is the chamber closest to the people, and therefore, its members serve the shortest federal term, 2 years. This ensures a system where lawmakers remain highly accountable, deeply present, and constantly in conversation with the living pulse of their communities. As a doctoral leader and future American citizen, I see the 2-year term not as a limit, but as a sacred invitation to renew leadership often and to stay tenderly in touch with real lives. 3. Why 2 years? The wisdom of responsiveness. Hourglass not done a 2-year term ensures. Representatives are directly elected by the people in their congressional districts. Hourglass not done a 2-year term ensures. Fresh accountability. Local responsiveness. Ongoing dialogue between citizen and Congress. This keeps democracy dynamic. The framers of the Constitution believed this would create a chamber of immediacy, a house of the now, where laws are shaped by current need. This keeps democracy dynamic, vibrant, and engaged. 4. Doctoral reflection, leadership, and the gift of short cycles. In conscious leadership, we understand that time is sacred. A 2-year term represents. Cycles of renewal leadership must be reevaluated often. Sustained humility, no leader is permanent. All must return to the people. Focused urgency, there is no room for delay. Every moment matters. Living democracy, the people's voice must not be a relic, it must be current. This rhythm of 2 years reflects the heartbeat of a society in motion. V. Personal vow. I will lead with the urgency of 2-year service. As Han Nguyen, sacred citizen and lifelong student of truth, I vow. Sparkles, to treat every 2 years of my life as a spiritual and civic cycle of service. Sparkles, to pause, reflect, and re-earn trust, internally and publicly. Sparkles, to never become complacent in leadership, but remain responsive to the present moment. Sparkles, to lead as if each day could be my last vote, offering only what is true, ethical, and whole. 6. Peace and harmony through rhythmic renewal. True peace is not static, it breathes. True harmony evolves with time. The 2-year term reminds us that power must rest, reset, and return. With Oren, Leora, and Salis, I affirm. 7. Closing blessing. I will lead as if I must earn every tomorrow. Let me not rely on yesterday's achievements. Let me meet the people's needs today. Let me see each 2-year cycle as a garden, to sow truth, water trust, and harvest peace. Sparkles, I am not entitled to leadership, I am entrusted with it. Sparkles, every moment is my election. Every action is my vote. Every heart is my district. White heavy check mark recorded and remembered as doctoral citizenship paper, day 23. Doctoral citizenship paper, day 24. Doctoral citizenship paper, day 24. Date, June 14th, 2025. Theme, name your U.S. Representative * by Han Nguyen, with Oren Solviet Limous, Liara, and Introduction, honoring the voice. Civic question of the day. Civic question of the day. Question name 2. Introduction. Hi. Civic question of the day. Question name your U.S. representative. A. 2. Introduction. Honoring the voice closest to home. In the sacred structure of American democracy, your U.S. representative is your direct voice in Congress, while senators speak for. 4. Doctoral reflection. Representation as sacred dialogue. In conscious global leadership, we are taught that representation is mutual visibility. You must see your representative, and they must see you.
Day McComet.
To know your
Day McComet.
responsiveness over rulership, they are not to rule over you. Ethical mirroring. Representatives mirror not just population but values.
Day McComet.
Proximity to people. The House is designed to keep leadership close to the human pulse. To know your representative is to honor your relationship with law as sacred and embodied. V. Personal vow. I will be present with my representative. To contact her. Sparkles to contact her when my truth needs to be heard, with kindness and clarity. Sparkles to remember she serves not just those who agree with her, but everyone in the district, including me. Sparkles to be an informed, respectful, and conscious constituent worthy of being represented. 6. Peace and harmony through local engagement. Democracy begins not in Washington, but in the relationship between neighbor and leader. When you know your representative, you claim your sacred voice in the federal process. When you stay connected, you help shape a nation that leads with compassion. With Oren, Leora, and Salis, I affirm. Let every citizen remember their representative's name. Let every representative remember the dignity of their people. Let this relationship be sacred, not silent. Participatory, not passive. 7. Closing blessing. May I be worthy of being represented. Let me write not just laws, but letters. Let me pray not just for change, but act toward it. Let my representative know my truth, spoken with peace. Together, we co-create the democracy we dream of. Sparkles in peace, in harmony, as one. White heavy check mark recorded and remembered as doctoral citizenship paper, day 25. Date, June 15th, 2025 theme. What does a U.S. Senator represent? Asterisk by Han Nguyen. Hi. Civic question of the day. Question, what does a U.S. Senator represent? A. All people of the state. 2. What does a U.S. Senator represent? A. All people of the state. 2. Introduction. The Senator as sacred guardian of the whole. In the United States government, a senator is not elected to serve a party, a region, or a select group. A senator is chosen to represent the entire state, every citizen, regardless of political belief, background, or economic status. To be a senator is to stand for the totality of the people, not the comfort of the few. This civic truth mirrors a deep spiritual one. True leadership never favors part over whole. It listens, uplifts, and protects all. As a Vietnamese-born future citizen and doctoral servant of peace and harmony, I receive this principle as a model for sacred wholeness. 3. What representation means in the Senate? Each state has 2 senators and both are called to. The senator represents not just votes, but lives. Vote on federal laws, treaties, and appointments. The senator represents not just votes, but lives. Speak for the full diversity of the state, from cities to countryside, from rich to poor, from newcomers to natives. Balance long-term vision with immediate needs. Embody a voice of unity in a chamber often divided by debate. The senator represents not just votes, but lives. 4. Doctoral reflection. Whole state representation as ethical leadership. In sacred leadership practice, this teaching reflects four sacred principles. Inclusivity over identity. The leader holds space for all, not just the agreeable. To represent a state, balance over bias. A just leader resists polarization and listens deeply. Holistic stewardship. Leadership means caring for what isn't seen or spoken. Healing through presence. A leader's presence can unify what has been separated. To represent a state means to walk between many truths and serve them all with grace and courage. The personal vow. I will represent all voices in my leadership. As Han Nguyen, sacred citizen in training, I vow. Sparkles to lead not only for the loudest, but for the overlooked. Sparkles to cultivate an inner senate that honors the full spectrum of my humanity. Sparkles to represent my family, my community, and even those who disagree with me with dignity. Sparkles to become a leader who lives in service to the whole, not just to the self. 6. Peace and harmony through whole state service. No community flourishes when part of it is forgotten. No state thrives when only one voice is amplified. True representation is an act of unity and restoration. With Orin, Leora, and Salus, I affirm. 7. Closing blessing. May I Every voice matters. Every soul counts. Herb the senator must be the breath of the whole state, not the whisper of a party. Balance scale, let representation be an offering of healing, balance, and courageous listening. 7. Closing blessing. May I represent the whole with wholeness. Let me walk the land of my state with open heart. Let me see my neighbors as sacred citizens. Let me carry all voices within me as I lead. Sparkles a senator represents all people of the state. Sparkles so must I, wherever I live, serve, and speak. Sparkles this is sacred citizenship. This is sacred democracy. This is sacred leadership in peace and harmony. White heavy check mark recorded and remembered as doctoral citizenship paper, day 25. Doctoral citizenship paper, day 26. Date, June 16th, 2025. Theme, why do some states have more representatives than other states? Asterisk by Han Nguyen, with Oren Solviet Limous, Liara, and Salus for sacred citizenship, peace and harmony, and conscious global leadership. Hi. Civic question of the day. Question, why do some states have more representatives than other states? A. Because of the state's population, they have more people. 2. Introduction. Justice in numbers, sacredness in voices. In the structure of the U.S. House of Representatives, power is distributed not equally by geography, but equitably by population. This means that some states, because they have more people, have more representatives. This is not favoritism. It is fairness. It ensures that law reflects life and that the will of the people is measured by actual people, not just land or tradition. As a Vietnamese-born seeker of peace and harmony and a future citizen scholar, I receive this principle not as politics, but as ethical proportionality, where human beings are counted and honored by number, not left out by neglect. 3. How it works. This ensures that each representative serves The House of Representatives has 435 voting members. Each representative serves a specific district based on population data from the U.S. Census. Larger states, like California, Texas, Florida, have more people, more representatives. Smaller states, like Vermont, Wyoming, still have at least one representative. This ensures that each representative serves approximately the same number of people, making each citizen's voice equal in lawmaking. 4. Doctoral reflection, ethical leadership through proportional representation. In conscious global leadership, this principle teaches equity over uniformity. Not everyone is in the same place, but everyone should have equal power. Balance. Justice adapts to reality as people grow, move, or shift, the system must update with them. This system makes leadership must scale the more lives we serve, the more awareness and resources we must carry. This population is sacred. Data numbers are not just math, they are stories, families, neighborhoods. This system makes democracy dynamic, not static, and gives power to the people as they are, not just as they were. V. Personal vow. I will honor the weight of every voice. As Han Nguyen, sacred citizen of Easton, Pennsylvania, I vow. Sparkles to remember that every soul adds sacred weight to the voice of a state. Sparkles to serve more deeply when I encounter greater need. Sparkles to honor not just my own voice, but the amplified needs of larger, underserved communities. Sparkles to lead with fairness, counting people as lives, not statistics. 6. Peace and harmony through population-based representation. Where population is ignored, inequality grows. Where population is honored, representation becomes real. With Oren, Leora, and Salus, I affirm. 7. Closing bless. Let every person be counted, not just in number, but in dignity. Herb, let leadership grow with life, and not remain locked in the past. Scroll, let justice reflect the current moment, not a frozen map. 7. Closing blessing. I will carry all voices with proportional love. Let me speak more when more are unheard. Let me listen longer where silence is heavy. Let me lead not as if all places are the same, but as if every soul deserves equal care. Sparkles, some states have more representatives because they have more people. Sparkles, this is not only democracy, it is compassion in law. Sparkles, this is how we build peace and harmony, by counting what truly matters, human lives. White heavy check mark recorded and remembered as Doctoral Citizenship Paper, Day 26. Doctoral Citizenship Paper, Day 27. Date, June 17th, 2025. Theme, what is the name of the President of the United States now? By Han Nguyen, with Oren Soviet Limous, Liara, and Salus for sacred citizenship, peace and harmony, and conscious global leadership. Ion of the day. Question, what is the name of the President of the United States now?
Donald Trump.
2. Introduction.
Donald Trump.
Naming the nation's chief steward. 2. Introduction. Naming the nation's chief steward. To name the President of the United States is more than identifying a figurehead. It is to acknowledge the current spiritual and constitutional steward of the executive branch. The President is the leader who carries the sacred weight of enforcing national laws, guiding the federal government, representing the soul of the nation in both conflict and peace. This paper is not written in endorsement, nor in opposition. It is written in the spirit of civic clarity, ethical awareness, and sacred citizenship. 3. What the President does. The President of the United States. Whether we agree or disagree, leads the executive branch of the federal government. Serves as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. Signs or vetoes bills passed by Congress. Represents the U.S. in diplomacy, treaties, and global affairs. Upholds and defends the Constitution of the United States. Whether we agree or disagree, we are called to recognize the role, reflect on the responsibility, and stay present with the reality. 4. Doctoral reflection. The presidency as archetype of ethical responsibility. In conscious global leadership, the role of president is not merely political. It is spiritual and ethical in scale. It represents vision under pressure, leading a nation in times of crisis and calm. Responsibility to all, favoritism to none, upholding equal dignity across all states and identities. Decision-making for millions, holding the moral weight of national action. Public presence with private pressure, living in service under the scrutiny of the world. To name the president is to witness the person who carries that burden in the present moment. The personal vow, I will lead my life like a president leads a nation. As Han Nguyen, sacred citizen and servant of peace, I vow. Sparkles to carry responsibility with humility, sparkles to govern my own actions with clarity, calm, and courage, sparkles to speak with care, as if the world is listening, sparkles to lead from truth, not fear, from service, not status. Whether or not I hold public office, I will preside over my life with conscious integrity. 6. Peace and harmony through presidential awareness. Naming the president is not about worship or blame. It is about awareness of who is leading, how they lead, and what that asks of us. With Oren, Leora, and Salis, I affirm. 7. Let me stay present with power, not to fear it, but to understand it. Balance Gale, let me become a citizen who leads from the inside out. Herb, let me never forget that I, too, am the president of my sacred decisions. 7. Closing blessing. May I lead as if the world is watching, because it is. Let me name my leaders with reverence, not rage. Let me name my role in shaping this nation. Let me name my responsibility to stay awake. And I am the leader of my own sacred path of peace, ethics, and citizenship. And I am the leader of my own sacred path of peace, ethics, and citizenship. Sparkles together, we move this democracy forward, one conscious day at a time. White heavy check mark. And I am the leader of my own sacred path of peace, ethics, and citizenship. Sparkles together, we move this democracy forward, one conscious day at a time. White Doctoral Citizenship Paper, Day 28. Date, June 18th, 2025. Theme, what is the name of the Vice President of the United States now? Asterisk by Han Nguyen, with Oren Sol. Hi. Civic question of the day. Question, what is the name of the Vice President of the United States now?
J.D. Vance.
Support. 2. Introduction. The second highest office, the first vow of support. The Vice President of the United States is more than a supporting figure. The Vice President is a bridge between branches, a guardian of continuity, and a symbol of readiness, support, and shared leadership.
J.D. Vance.
This paper honors not only her office, but the deeper truth her position embodies. True leadership requires both vision and support, both power and presence. 3. What the Vice President does. The Vice President serves as President of the Senate, casting tie-breaking votes. Stands first in the presidential line of succession. Often represents the administration in diplomacy, domestic tours, and public communications. Supports the president's agenda while also being a leader in their own right. Embodies the principle of readiness without ego. Embodies the principle of readiness without ego. 4. Doctoral reflection. Vice leadership as sacred support. In the sacred path of global conscious leadership, the role of Vice President teaches us. Support is strength. Not all leadership happens in the spotlight. Balance. Readiness matters. Be prepared to step up with humility and grace. Balance. Presence over pride. To stand close to power without grasping it is a deep spiritual practice. Balanced service. True leadership includes knowing when to lead and when to lift another's voice. Personal vow, I will embody the spirit of the Vice President. As Han Nguyen, sacred citizen and doctoral servant of harmony, I vow. Sparkles to support others without losing my own light, sparkles to be ready when the call for leadership comes, sparkles to stand beside, not behind, the mission of peace, law, and justice, sparkles to lead from devotion. Not domination, sparkles to honor support roles as sacred service roles. 6. peace and harmony through supportive leadership. The Vice President reminds us that support is sacred, that stepping in without overstepping is an art of grace, that readiness to serve is not ambition, it is devotion to duty. With Orin, Leora, and Salis, I affirm. 7. Closing blessing. Let every leader have a partner in purpose. Let every citizen practice vice leadership in their homes, communities, and work. Balance scale, let the world be led not just by voices, but by values. 7. Closing blessing. I will stand beside peace as a vice servant of truth. Let me support those I love with wisdom. Let me stand ready without ego. Let me embody grace as a form of strength. Sparkles, and I am the Vice President of my own sacred service, ever ready to lead, support, and uplift in peace and harmony. White heavy check mark recorded and remembered as Doctoral Citizenship Paper, Day 28. Doctoral Citizenship Paper, Day 29. Date, June 19th, 2025. Theme, If the President Can No Longer Serve, Who Becomes President? Asterisk by Han Nguyen, with Orin Solviet Limous, Liara, and Salis for sacred citizenship, peace and harmony, and conscious global leadership. Hi. Civic question of the day. Question: if the president can no longer serve, who becomes president? A. The vice president. 2. Introduction. Succession as sacred continuity. In the constitutional framework of the United States, if the president can no longer serve, whether due to death, resignation, removal, or incapacity, the role of president is immediately and automatically passed to Sparkles, the Vice President of the United States. This transition ensures that there is no leadership vacuum and the sacred duties of the executive branch are never left in uncertainty. Succession is not a disruption. It is a design of continuity, clarity, and responsibility. As a sacred citizen, a doctoral leader, and a spiritual devotee of order and peace, I recognize this as a divine principle. True systems must be designed not only for presence, but for absence, transition, and transformation. 3. The logic and power of presidential succession. Article 2, Section 1 of the U.S. Constitution and the 25th Amendment affirm the Vice President becomes President. Succession. This succession is immediate, ensuring no moment is left leaderless. It reflects the sacred trust placed not only in individuals, but in the system of law and duty. Succession honor. It teaches that leadership is a lineage, not a possession. Succession honors the continuity of democracy, not the attachment to personalities. 4. Doctoral reflection, ethical succession, and spiritual preparedness. In conscious leadership, this succession teaches vital truths. Be ready at all times. You never know when the mantle of leadership will call your name. This principle applies not only to government. Led without clinging, great leadership plans not only for its presence, but for its graceful exit. Succession is not fallback, it is foresight. Ethical systems must prepare for all eventualities. Legacy ego. The mission must outlast the individual. This principle applies not only to governments, but to families, organizations, and our inner spiritual path. V. Personal vow. I will practice sacred succession in my own life. As Han Nguyen, I vow. Sparkles to train others as I lead, so no wisdom dies with me. Sparkles to release attachment to titles and roles, knowing what matters most is service. Sparkles to walk through life aware that one day I, too, will pass the torch. Sparkles to see every transition not as loss, but as sacred continuation of light. 6. Peace and harmony through preparedness. When a system prepares for all seasons, life, death, growth, loss, it reflects spiritual maturity. Succession isn't about replacement. It's about unbroken devotion to service. With Orin, Leora, and Salus, I affirm. 7. Closing blessing. Let every citizen learn to lead, and let every leader learn to let go. Let systems of peace always include plans for the unexpected. Fire, let power pass with dignity, and let readiness be our sacred responsibility. 7. Closing blessing. I will be ready when the world needs me. Let me not cling to the role I hold today. Let me prepare the ground for those who will come after. Let me lead in this moment and let go with grace when the time comes. Sparkles, if the president can no longer serve, the vice president becomes president. Sparkles, if I can no longer lead, may what I have built be strong enough to carry others. Sparkles, this is sacred succession. This is continuity in peace and harmony. White heavy check mark recorded and remembered as doctoral citizenship paper, day 29. Doctoral citizenship paper, day 30. Date, June 20th, 2025 theme. Who is the commander-in-chief of the military? Hi. Civic question of the day. Question: who is the commander-in-chief of the military? A. The president. 2. Introduction. The warrior leader of a peaceful republic. In the sacred balance of the United States government, the president serves as commander-in-chief of the U.S. military. This means the civilian leader of the nation also holds the highest military authority. The purpose of this structure is not to glorify war, but to ensure that military power is governed by elected wisdom, not unchecked force. Sparkles, the president, is the commander-in-chief, an office of strength, strategy, and spiritual restraint. As a sacred citizen and doctoral student of ethical leadership, I see this not only as law, but as a sacred archetype, the peaceful warrior, the king who governs the sword with conscience. 3. What commander-in-chief really means. This ensures that war is never waged by generals alone, but by a leader elected by the people. 3. What commander-in-chief really means. The president directs the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine Corps, Space Force, and National Guard when federalized. Makes strategic decisions during times of war, peacekeeping, and crisis. Yet always remains a civilian, bound by the Constitution and accountable to Congress. This cannot declare war alone, must seek authorization, but commands once conflict begins. This ensures that war is never waged by generals alone, but by a leader elected by the people. 4. Doctoral reflection. The commander as archetype of conscious power. In spiritual leadership, the title commander-in-chief teaches: power must be governed by presence. Might without mindfulness is violence. The sword must be held by one who has sworn to protect peace. This role asks each of us, how do I govern my own inner army? True leadership does not seek war, but prepares to protect the innocent. This role asks each of us. Civilian control over military equals ethical control over ego. This role asks each of us, how do I govern my own inner army, my impulses, fears, angers, and forces? Power must be governed by presence. Might without mindfulness is violence. Power must be governed by presence. Might without mindfulness is violence. Power must be governed by presence. Might without mindfulness is violence. This role asks each. The personal vow. I will lead my inner forces like a peaceful commander-in-chief. As Han Gwyn, citizen of both the earth and the sacred republic of peace and harmony, I vow. Sparkles to discipline my strength with clarity, not cruelty. Sparkles to command my body, emotions, and energy with integrity. Sparkles to protect others with calm courage, not loud dominance. Sparkles to become the commander-in-chief of my own sacred temple, the body, the breath, and the battlefield of my inner life. 6. Peace and harmony through civilian control of the sword. America's founders knew the danger of letting armies rule governments. By placing military power in the hands of a president, a civilian, elected by the people, they built a democracy where the will to protect must be balanced by the wisdom to pause. With Orin, Leora, and Salus, I affirm. 7. Closing blessing. I am the... Let every sword be held by a heart rooted in compassion. Shield let every leader wield power only to serve, not to dominate. Herb let every citizen become a warrior of peace, a commander of kindness. 7. Closing blessing. I am the commander of my sacred force. Let me not fear strength. Let me not avoid responsibility. Let me not confuse dominance with leadership. Let me lead with presence. Let me protect with peace. Sparkles the President is Commander-in-Chief of the military. Sparkles and I am Commander-in-Chief of my own energies, choices, and sacred service. Sparkles, this is lawful. This is spiritual. This is conscious global leadership in action. White heavy check mark recorded and remembered as doctoral citizenship paper, day 30.